Whoa, whoa, whoa. Slow down there, buddy. Go ahead and delete that comment that you were typing up. I'm not here to officially predict that Lane Kiffin will be the new head coach for the Miami Hurricanes, and I'm not arguing for him over Mario Cristobal. I'm simply telling you why, if he was hired, that he wouldn't just leave us after 2 or 3 seasons, because that is the number one go-to argument from Canes fans. Coop, Lane Kiffin would be here just 2 or 3 years, and then he's out. Now, would I take Lane Kiffin? I've been very vocal about this. Yes. Would I also take Mario Cristobal? Yes. But sit tight for a few minutes and let me tell you why the 46-year-old head coach with an attitude wouldn't just leave us hanging high and dry. What's going on, Canes fans? More and more news keeps dropping every day, and things are only going to continue to heat up from here. I recently posted a video on this channel talking about why Lane Kiffin would pick up the phone if Miami called him, and there have been several reports that have come out from close family members that state the exact same thing. There is absolutely some interest there, but so many of you in the comment section told me you're not interested.
Like, I'm not trying to be mean. Like, are you dumb?
And the thing is, I completely understand your side of the argument. I get where you're coming from whenever you talk about him not sticking around very long. But what I want to do is I'm going to put up his history on either over there. Yeah, probably over there. I'm going to put it right over here on the screen and blow it up so you can kind of follow along. And I just want to go over Lane Kiffin's coaching career. And then what I'm going to do is talk about it in depth for a few minutes, and I'm going to counter your argument and then see what you think about it. But I want you to hear me out, watch this video all the way to the end before you actually make a comment. So here we go. Let's just dive right into it. And you're going to see me referring to my notes a lot because I want to make sure that I get these numbers right. So we'll start with his graduate assistant position at Colorado State. How long was he there? 1 year. Next up, quality control with the Jaguars. 1 year. He then moved out west and was with USC from 2001 to 2006 as he worked his way up the ladder. He started out working with tight ends and wide receivers and eventually worked his way up to offensive coordinator. He then accepted another job in the NFL as head coach of the Oakland Raiders. Now, unfortunately, this didn't go well for Kiffin, and things stayed heated pretty regularly between him and the owner. He then goes to Tennessee for, 1 year. We all know the story there, to accept what he thought was his dream job back at USC again, but except this time it was going to be as head coach. He only lasted around 2.5 years before getting canned. After that, Kiffin decides that it's time to step down from being a head coach, and he tries his hand at being the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach at the University of Alabama. And yes, I'm talking about the Alabama Crimson Tide. Well, Saban and Kiffin, as you can imagine, butted heads pretty regularly. You're seeing a trend here? So that didn't really work out too long, and he got fired after just 2 seasons. He then comes back down to South Florida and decides to accept a head coaching job once again for FAU. After just 3 seasons, Kiffin is approached by Ole Miss, and he jumps at the opportunity to accept another big boy job, this time head coach in the SEC, and it's an opportunity for him to take down his former boss, Nick Saban. And that brings us to today. So here we are, Lane Kiffin, only 2 seasons in as the head coach of the Ole Miss Rebels, and there are already talks floating around that he's definitely interested in the Miami job. So I said all of that to say this. Up until this point, Lane Kiffin has always jumped at the opportunity for more money or what he thought would be greener pastures. 2 to 3 years does seem to be the maximum amount of time that he stays tied down to one place. But believe it or not, and I'm not making excuses for the dude, I promise I'm not, but I kind of understand his moves. When you go through and actually break it down, it makes a little more sense. So let's take a few more minutes and let's do that. So let's start off with when he became a head coach with the Raiders. Kiffin has a slight attitude. Everybody knows this. He's just a cocky guy. It is who he is. And that just didn't go over well with the Raiders owner, Al Davis. So I fully understand him leaving. A head coach and an owner not getting along, that's just not going to work out. And then when we take a look at him going to Tennessee, he was pretty successful there in that first year. But when USC came knocking, I understand leaving a job, no matter how little of time you've been there, to accept what you think is your dream job. And yeah, sure, maybe he could have and should have approached it in a different way, but I'm just going to be straight up and blunt with you guys. If my dream job came knocking, I don't care if it meant that I had to hop on a plane that night and just leave a sticky note on my boss's door. I'm taking it. I don't care. So with that out of the way, we move on to Alabama. That one, again, is just self-explanatory. Kiffin and Saban, that just doesn't mesh well. That doesn't work. Now, looking back at FAU again, Lane Kiffin loves South Florida. He's been very vocal about this. He really enjoys living in that area. However, the issue is, what's he really going to accomplish on a big stage as the head coach of the Owls? I mean, he can continue to win Conference USA championships all he wants, but that's as far as he's ever going to get. So when another big-time SEC school, aka Ole Miss, came knocking, I actually completely understand him pulling the trigger and taking the job and leaving and moving after a short period of time once again. Basically, to sum this whole thing up, here's the bottom line, Canes fans. Lane Kiffin is searching for a national championship, and he doesn't care what he has to do to get it, and he doesn't care what people think about him bouncing around. I'm not here to make excuses for him, but that's the reality of the situation and what he's doing. And he knew that Ole Miss was going to give him a better opportunity to accomplish this goal. However, he also understands that Alabama and Georgia are standing in his way and could block that path for the foreseeable future. He would need to take down Alabama in the West, and then even if he did take down Alabama, then he has to face Georgia most likely in the SEC championship. So here's my argument for a guy like Lane Kiffin leaving a big-time SEC school. That's right, he's got that SEC money over there, to come coach at the University of Miami. And one of those big arguments is the fact that the ACC would be very winnable for him. With conference championship wins in the ACC comes college football playoff talks. I feel like that if he is regularly competing in ACC championship games within 2 to 3 years, which is absolutely doable for him at Miami, then he's in it for the long haul. Now, when I say in it for the long haul, I mean roughly 5 to 7 years. Now, people have told me that he'll come to Miami and he'll win an ACC championship game in 2 or 3 years, which I've also said, yes, is doable. But then he'll leave us for the NFL. I don't think that Lane Kiffin has any interest in the NFL any longer. I think that the Raiders left a really bad taste in his mouth, and I don't think that he takes that step up and goes back to the NFL. Just imagine all of the love that he would receive from Canes fans after all of these years of mediocrity. After winning an ACC championship game, something that we've not been able to do, we would be building a freaking statue of Lane Kiffin on campus. We would love him, and he would love us. Sure, Ole Miss might give him more big games throughout the season, but the path to the playoffs would actually be much easier here at Miami. Now, I'm not saying it's because we would be that good. I'm saying it's because the ACC as a whole, but most importantly, the Coastal, is a joke. And I'm telling you guys to never underestimate the fact that location matters and money is a huge influence. Right now, he's getting $4.5 million per year base salary at Ole Miss. We can absolutely match that and more. And could I mention location one more time? Because yeah, the beaches are much better than anything that they have going on over there. Kiffin loves the sunshine, women, money, and the thought of winning a national championship. If you can give the offensive guru, aka the quarterback whisperer, those things, I do believe that he will absolutely be in it for the long haul. And I myself personally will welcome the kind of cocky attitude that he would bring back to South Florida. Honestly, it's something that we've needed back again for quite a while. He was born in Nebraska and has no ties to Miami, and this is another thing that I love about him. How often has this alumni, former player thing worked out for us? Not very well for the most part, at least in recent years. So him having no ties to Miami is actually a bonus for me, and he already has a family and a house in South Florida. It just makes too much sense. This guy would love coaching all of the South Florida speed on our roster because he loves putting up lots of points on offense. I truly believe that Lane Kiffin would be here longer than most of you believe, and I am absolutely all aboard the Lane train. So that's my little spiel, guys, on why I think that Lane Kiffin would stay in Miami much longer than most people believe. Again, ACC championships would be much more obtainable than SEC championships for him, and I do believe that the path to the playoffs would be easier and a much more realistic accomplishment for him here. And again, what's he searching for? A national championship. That gives him a better, more realistic opportunity to accomplish that. And I do believe that he would have us winning the ACC championship in 2 or 3 years. I think that's absolutely a realistic thing that he could do. He loves sunshine. He loves South Florida. And if he comes here and starts winning, that we're in the top 10. We're in the top 5. We're potentially making the playoffs. Why would he have any reason to leave? But please leave your comments down below, because I know so many people are going to disagree with me because they don't like his cockiness. They don't like the fact that he bounces around. And like I said, I completely understand your side of the argument as well. And I'm not saying, once again, that I want him over Mario Cristobal. Those guys are kind of a 1A, 1B kind of scenario for me. I'll be ecstatic if we get Mario. I'll be ecstatic if we get Lane Kiffin. But I do want a big splash hire for this position, this go around, and someone that brings ton of experience to the table. I don't want an up-and-coming guy. I don't want somebody who's a great OC over at another school or some other coordinator position. I don't want that guy. Give me Lane Kiffin or give me Mario Cristobal. And there's a few other guys you could slide in on that list, but those are my top 2 targets. So remember though, guys, we're all one big happy college football family, but at the end of the day, I gotta say, it's always better when you get to rep the U. And I'm really looking forward to reading the comments on this one. Coach Coop, peace out.